Good evening and welcome to the Raymond Budget and Finance Committee meeting of April 12th. This is a review of the warrant articles, and I would like to make an adjustment to the agenda at this point in time. I understand there is a kerfuffle in town about the Raymond Rattlers, so we have two representatives from Raymond Rattlers, and I would like to have them make a little presentation, and then we'll have some questions so we can clear up Article 42. That all right with everybody? Gentlemen? Yep. Just name and...
Yeah, I'm Zach Davis with the Raymond Rattlers.
Okay, thank you for coming.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
I'm not really sure. I heard there was a concern about the amount of money we get from the town every year. So we're just coming to see.
I think what I'd like to do is, since Mr. Walker started the email chain, why don't you start, Brian, and express your concerns, and then we'll go from there.
My concerns are not with Raymond Rattlers. My concern is with having the Raymond Rattlers tied to a particular amount of money and predisposed to that. It's a town issue, but I'm happy to go through it.
Go ahead.
It has nothing to do with the Raymond Rattlers. There was an indication from, I think, from the town that there had to be a separate warrant article. I checked with Kathy Rickard today. Since the monies from the registrations of snowmobiles goes into the general revenue, general funds, there is no need to have a separate article that then links that those monies to the Raymond Rattlers. My belief is that, like the other recreational groups in town that provide a service to the town, Raymond Rec, baseball, etc., the Raymond Rattlers should be part of that consideration, and just like they have done, go through and request monies each year. But there is no need for us having a separate warrant article. There is no requirement, from what I've gotten from both Sue Look as well as Kathy Ricker, to have a separate warrant article, and we've made this much more complex than it needs to be. I would say, as long as you're here, that it would be great to get information, and I did request it, ask this of all groups, to have both the information about where your money goes as well as having an understanding of your revenue. So we have a complete picture of where your revenues, how much money comes in, and how much money comes out. Generally, a balance, an income statement would be really helpful.
Okay, yeah, and I don't have that with me. I was just called tonight right before this meeting came together.
But again, this
That's
is
fine.
not about the amount allocated to the Raymond Rattlers. I have had challenges in years past, absolutely, but that's not the situation here.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for the Raymond Rattlers? I know there's been some discussions at both meetings about them. Nobody has questions? I'm not sure I want to take public comment right now.
It's not public comment. Clarification.
Yes, you may speak.
Okay,
Sorry.
so I think the intent of the MMA article, which
Right.
Sue had, I think, incorrectly said was a state requirement, perhaps, but the intent of that was to, to state that the monies, public monies, were being dedicated to a private purpose, i.e. snowmobile clubs, and to the snowmobile club use, and to specify that that money would have some, public benefits through access to the trail system. So it makes it unlike, the allocation of automobile excise tax to roads. I think that comparison was made.
Yeah.
So I think that's all it's about, is so that, it's clear that we're taking public monies, putting them to this private purpose, snowmobile trails, but there's a public benefit. That's really all it is, so people understand that. Whether you need a separate article to do that, I don't know. But I don't know as it hurts, and that's why MMA apparently recommends it to all their towns.
Does anybody else have any questions? Dana?
My concern was originally with the, it wasn't with the $2,000, it's just how they spend it and where they spend it. Like Brian said, it'd be nice to know where.
Yeah, I mean, we
if
spend
it's
it.
for grooming.
It's for grooming, it's for bridges, it's for signs.
Yeah. I didn't see much grooming this year. I ride in on the Casco trails because I trailer my sled up there. I put over 1,000 miles this year, and I didn't see too much grooming this year. And, you know, it might be weather related, you know, but I'd like to see a better understanding on how your money is spent.
I don't know if you're on Facebook, but I'd like you to.
No, I don't do Facebook.
Okay, 'cause
Mark Zuckerberg owns that. And I can't.
Okay, well-
He's got enough money. I don't want to support him anymore.
That's one venue where we update regularly with grooming statuses, and you can see our website on there, or our page on Facebook. Feel free to go on there and look at it. You can see when we've groomed. It's not every time we groom, but often we put up pictures. We put up pictures of bridge projects that we do, excavators up on trails, clearing rocks and opening trails up. I mean, there's a lot that we do. We actually have a pretty small budget and,
Yeah.
you know, struggle to stay within that. I personally put fuel in the groomers every year out of my own pocket just because the club doesn't have the extra money to do it.
Well, you shouldn't have to do that.
Well, it's
You
just
know,
part of it. I've done it my whole life.
They used to have fundraisers. I remember when I snowmobiled.
Yeah, no, and we try to. I mean, we tried to have one this winter, but due to no snow.
Because I remember taking my family over to Cocatosi one time, and they had that was
Yep.
quite a few years ago. but-
No, and if you look around, there's still signs up from one that we tried to have this year, but
Yeah.
all the snow melted on us, and
Yeah, that was a dumb,
you
weird
can't have a
year.
barbecue with no snow, so.
Bob?
Do you receive any reimbursements from the state?
There is a grant, Larry knows better about what the actual grants are that we get, but yes, there is some.
And it's all recorded, we're part of the Maine Snowmobile Association. I'm gonna stand up there.
Yep, please.
I'm Larry Wood, the Vice President of the Snowmobile Club,
Thanks for coming.
and I've been involved with the club since I was 13 in Raymond. Just trying to keep it going for all the families and everybody, to keep it safe and somewhat organized. It doesn't always happen, but this year's been a great year for us as far as getting new members to join and help out. We do charity stuff as well, and not just trail stuff, but we try to focus on that when the conditions are right. The grants that we apply for is a maintenance grant, and we have to fill out paperwork before, during, and after, and show all of the volunteer hours. It's pretty itemized, and it's through the Maine Snowmobile Association, but also the Bureau of Parks and Land. So we've been doing it I have myself, for probably 15 years, helping keep the grant money coming in to keep the equipment going, and I don't know what else you need.
Well, it's covers it.
Yeah, I mean, currently we have a Jeep Cherokee, a Polaris Ranger side-by-side, ATV with tracks on it, and a Skidoo Scandic that we groom with.
Anything else? Brian?
So just a suggestion in the future, if you could come proactively, and we always invite the groups that are coming in for funding to just come in and tell us some of the information. That helps us have a better understanding of what the monies go for. And back to, because I was asked about it, back to the town, I still firmly believe that there should not be a connection between the amount of revenue that's coming in for snowmobiles and the amount that's allocated to rattlers. I believe it should be independent. It should be more if more is warranted, or less. We don't do it with boat registrations allocated for water purposes. We don't do it for automobiles allocated to road purposes. I do not understand why the monies that come off of snowmobiles should automatically go to the Raymond Rattlers, and for the Raymond Rattlers to be limited to that amount.
Anything else? Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My only comment would be, if you don't care about the process, then you are free to vote whichever way you should choose on Article 42.
Could you clarify a little bit more
Yeah,
what you mean by
please.
that? I'm not sure if I understand, Mr. Chairman.
If you don't like the way Article 42 reads, then vote no.
The
You
problem
feel it
is,
should be combined?
the problem is now the monies are tied to that article.
Right.
So it makes it more difficult. Now those things are linked, so they can't be interdependent.
And that's a choice that you're going to have to make. Sir?
Yes, my name is Keith Thomas. I'm a resident of Raymond and a member of the Raymond Rattlers Snowmobile Club. We contacted the MSA president today to ask them about.
Can you define MSA?
Maine State Snowmobile Association, yes. To ask them, get some information from them, and what they indicated to us is that there was 389 snowmobiles registered in the town of Raymond, and out of that, the Maine State Snowmobile Association kicked back $6.62 per snowmobile for a total of $2,575. So the town received almost $2,600 from just the snowmobiles that were registered in this town. I just want to.
That's a good number. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Anything else? Done? Okay, moving right along to the agenda. Approve the minutes of March 27th, which was the workshop. Have a motion, please?
Move the minutes of March 27 budget workshop.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Review of procedural guidelines. As we all know, our job tonight is to recommend to the town. It's not to approve or disapprove the warrant. It's to make a recommendation, pro or con. Warrant articles cannot be increased. They can only be decreased. And the third procedure I'd like to suspend Article 6E of the ordinance because we're down 2 people tonight, and I will allow simple majority to carry the motion tonight. So if I could have a motion to suspend?
Motion to suspend Article 60.
6E,
6E.
to allow a simple majority to carry the vote or deny the vote tonight.
Second.
All in favor?
Discussion, please.
Yes, discussion.
The way it was explained at the beginning, I'm actually very happy with the idea of a majority, but my understanding is it would only be done in the first meeting of the session or the season, the fiscal season. We could make the change that you're now suggesting.
I have checked with parliamentary procedure, and I am allowed as chairman to do that for this meeting because I have reasoned the 2 absences.
Very good.
All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is what I need. Thank you. I will read the article, and we will ask for a motion to recommend, discuss, and then move.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry to interrupt. The other thing was, we do not have the ability to increase the amount of the article, of
No,
the
sir.
warrant articles as they are currently proposed?
No, sir.
I think we need to check on that.
No.
And here's the reason why. I know at town meeting that cannot happen, but we are an independent group from the select board. I believe that we can have an independent valuation that is different and higher if we'd like, or lower if we'd like.
This has been the procedure for the last,
We better get this right, because otherwise this is going to be a big issue.
this has been the procedure for the last 12 years that I've been on this board. And Sue, would you care to explain why?
The warrant is the selectmen's
Right.
document, and the budget committee's recommendation is all that can happen. Once the selectmen set that dollar amount, you can recommend down, but you can never recommend up.
Does that make it clear?
So it isn't your document, you're simply making a recommendation on the selectmen's document. Just like if you didn't want one of these warrant articles, you could recommend to vote it down, but you couldn't recommend to remove it from the warrant.
Dana?
On the procedural guidelines, let's say we got majority, all right? Let's say there's a 3-2 vote. Can we, on the document, write whether it passes or not, what the vote is?
Would you mind doing that?
I can do that.
It's just transparency.
Fine.
And it produces, I think, a little more discussion at town meeting. Town meetings are pretty boring to begin with, and if there's a little more discussion maybe, and people are interested in going, which I doubt, but at least there'd be something that we're transparent. Before that, we'd have Board of Selectmen, recommend, and Budget Committee recommends. And it doesn't show whether there was a selectman or 2 that disagreed with the majority or the budget. And I'd like to see that, please, on the, if we could, Mr. Chairman.
That would be a decision for the board.
Could I have a motion for that, Dana?
I'd like to make that motion.
Second that motion.
All in favor of the procedure change? Okay. The way I'd like to see it done is after the vote, parentheses, a number, a dash, and a number. The first number is the positive, the second number is a negative, and then close the parentheses. Okay, we all set to go?
Let her rip.
Article 15, thank you, Dana. Article 15, to see if the town will vote to authorize the selectmen on behalf of the town to sell and dispose of any property acquired by the town for non-payment of taxes pursuant to the policy adopted by the selectmen, as it may be amended from time to time. The policy to remain consistent with the state statutes and laws. In all cases, conveyance to be made by municipal quitclaim deed. May I have a motion to recommend?
Move to recommend.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? You voting, Dana?
Yes,
No?
I do.
Okay, all right, gotta hold your hand up if you want us to count them. Okay?
Twice?
Yeah, that's good, they do that down the cemetery. Article 16. No, you're right. Only in Auburn, right? Article 16, to see what date taxes will be due and to set an interest rate for the unpaid amount. The Select Board recommends the first half to be October 31st, 2018, and the second half to be due April 30th, 2019, with an interest rate of 8% on unpaid balances.
Move to recommend Article 16.
Second,
Second.
discussion?
Has that always been 8%?
No, it's been 7% to this year, and then the state raised it.
Okay.
Okay. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Article 17, to see if the town will vote to set the interest rate to be paid by the town on abated taxes at 8% for the fiscal year.
Move to recommend Article 17.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Okay.
He couldn't take it anymore.
I gave him the high side.
The excitement was just too much.
They got permission.
I didn't look up quick enough. Article 18, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to dispose of town-owned personal property with a value not to exceed $35,000.
Move to recommend Article 18.
Second? Second on Debbie. All in favor, or discussion? All in favor? So far, we got a bunch of 7 zeros, huh? Okay.
Copy and paste easy.
Yep. Exactly.
Right mouse click.
Article 19, to see if the town will vote to authorize the selectmen to appropriate from the undesignated fund balance or surplus as they deem advisable to meet the unanticipated needs of the community that occur during the fiscal year and/or to adjust the tax rate as the selectmen deem advisable in an amount not to exceed $75,000.
Move to recommend Article 19.
Second,
Second.
discussion? Yes, Brian.
I think the passage of the second side of the sign, the $30,000 incremental amount that was passed at the last select board is a good indication of why we may want to, that I'll be voting against this. I think it was poorly managed and we never even got a chance to see it.
It's my understanding that the funds allocated last night by the selectmen will come out of the 2017-18 budget. It won't affect this number at all.
That's correct, but it's coming out of undesignated fund. It's coming out of this authorization.
No, it's coming out of last year's authorization.
Excuse me, but what is approved in this article?
You mean the article of last year?
Correct. So by doing this, we are giving the select board the ability to do that same type of movement again.
That's correct.
Yep.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay, Article 20, to see if the town will authorize the selectmen for the fiscal year 2018-2019 to transfer funds between appropriation accounts as long as the grand total of all appropriations is not exceeded. Any such transfers to be approved only at a properly called public meeting of the selectmen.
Move to recommend Article 20.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor? Article 21, to see if the town will vote to authorize the use of town employees and/or town-owned equipment or independent contractors hired by the town for the maintenance on private roads in a special and certain circumstances where it's in the public's interest. Note of explanation is there are 3 examples listed. Type of work to be done intersects a private road. Plowing on a snow private road to clear the way for emergency vehicles. And in a rare emergency, maintaining private roads for school bus access to special education.
Move to recommend Article 21.
Second.
Discussion.
Marshall, I'm gonna step out of this one because I'm not voting on this one.
I am also abstaining because I own a private road. You should,
Well, I do, and the school bus.
fine. All in favor? That would read 5-0, I believe. 2 abstentions.
5-0.
5-0. Yeah, Richard. Okay, Article 22, to see if the town will vote to authorize the tax collector or treasurer to accept prepayments of taxes not yet committed pursuant to 36 MRSA 506 with no interest.
Move to recommend Article 22.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Okay. Article 23, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $251,412 from the tax increment of the Pipeline Route 302 Tax Increment Financing District for the FY 2018-2019 projects proposed in the Tax Increment Financing District Development Program.
Move to recommend Article 23.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay. Article 24, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $470,852 for the administration account.
Move to recommend Article 24.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Article 25, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $36,419 for the employee compensation and training account. Recommendation?
I can't do this one.
Me neither.
Would somebody like to make a recommendation?
I move Article 25 for the amount of $36,419.
Thank you, Brian. A second?
Second.
Second, thank you. Abstentions? 2. All in favor? Thank you. Article 26, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $73,540 for the assessing account.
Move to recommend Article 26.
Thank you, Bob. Second?
Second.
Discussion?
Yes, please.
Yes, Dana.
What's Kurt LaBelle's contract total? I mean, is that for Kurt LaBelle only, is that his contract price? Or does that include other stuff?
I think the secretary.
I'm going to say that it includes other stuff.
Okay.
Mainly, I think the GPS was in there. I'm not going to guess at his contract, but that's a major portion, but not all.
Okay.
Okay?
31.5.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I was going with, thank you. Okay, it's been moved and seconded and discussed. All in favor? Thank you. Article 27, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $93,900 for the Code Enforcement Department account.
Move to recommend Article 27.
Thank you.
Second.
Any discussion? Yes, ma'am.
I should have asked this when he was here the last time. Are they hiring a part-time person this summer on that? Oh, they're not? Okay. I meant to ask last time and I didn't.
I believe the answer to be no.
No.
No, okay.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Article 28, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $21,820 for the town hall account.
Move to recommend Article 28.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Mr. Walker took the second. Discussion? All in favor? Article 29, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $179,271 for the technology department.
Move to recommend Article 29.
Second, please.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor? Article 30, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $1,000 for the community development account. This is the account that holds the RTP bus.
Move to recommend Article 30.
Second,
Second.
discussion?
Yeah, this is an area we can't change that number, right?
We can take it down.
Okay, no. You have Brian. Yeah.
Brian.
Brian?
I think it's really disappointing that the select board didn't give the people of Raymond the opportunity to at least explore their willingness to fund both of these areas. To me, both of these areas fall on kind of key principles as a town, which include, are we willing to pay our fair share for things? Are we part of a larger group, not just Raymond, but we're part of the Lakes community area? And do we believe in trying to help people who are trying to help themselves? And as it relates to the Lakes Region Explorer bus, the amount they asked for was $9,656. To propose either zero or, thankfully, through Selectman Olson's efforts to have $1,000 allocated is such a dramatic reduction that it creates some problems for those who use the bus, I believe, in Raymond. The people that use the bus, and I've used the bus probably 30 times in my life and probably 12 or 15 in the last year. There are some people that look a lot like me, but there's a lot of people who don't look like me. They're people that I would suggest are probably on the margins. And I've talked to a lot of them to try to understand who's using the bus, and it's people that are going to school, it's people that are going to jobs, it's people that are going to doctor's appointments. And when asked why they don't have a bus, it's because my husband and I only have one car and he has to use it for work, or we don't have a car, I can't afford a car. And for a lot of us who have cars, it's a very simple thing to kind of get from point A to point B. But for those who don't have it, even getting to a supermarket can be a pretty difficult effort. On the Southern Maine Agency for Aging, which didn't even make the Richter scale here.
All right, stop, please. That's not part of the warrant article, so I'm not going to allow discussion on that.
You're really not going to even allow me to have a few moments to
No,
talk
sir.
to her?
No, sir. You can have some time on the, at the end of the contract when I ask for budget committee comments. You can comment then.
Okay.
We're talking about warrant articles.
It was part of the warrant article, though, that the
Brian,
select board voted on it, and the warrant article was changed.
that's fine. It's not part of the warrant article now. We're not going to discuss it. The article on the table is $1,000 for the bus. Do we have a recommendation?
I think we already.
I think you did.
We did.
I have a motion. on
Okay,
that, right?
we have a motion and a second.
Right, any other
Sue?
discussion?
Okay, are we done with discussion? The only thing I can say to this one, Brian, is that if we're going from 9,000 to 1,000, that's going to send a message to them. And if they're going to respond to that by looking at their process and their stops, fine. If they're not, then they're not. All in favor of recommending? Are you voting, Brian?
I'm not.
Okay,
I will be voting in opposition.
fine. Yeah, opposed. Okay. Article 31, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $790,210 for the fire rescue department.
Move to recommend.
Thank you, Dana. Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in
I
favor?
will be recusing myself from this.
Say it loud. Say it.
I will be
Be proud, say it loud.
I will be recusing myself from this vote.
Okay.
Are we voting?
No, we've got,
Oh, what?
I'm sorry, I thought I was still in the discussion phase. I see a bunch of hands.
Well,
Okay, all right.
vote.
Let's vote.
Jake.
Thank you. Okay. Article 32, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $19,229 for the animal control account.
Move to recommend Article 32.
Second.
Discussion. All in favor? Article 33, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $757,873 for the Public Works account.
Move to recommend Article 33.
Second.
Second.
I'm
Discussion.
recusing.
Oh,
Diana,
I'm recusing.
thank you. Dana?
The article's fine, except I really don't think I'm gonna vote to increase the budget for a mechanic. So I'd like to reduce it by that amount.
Okay, so you're going to amend the motion
Yep.
to reduce this by 13,500, I believe, was the mechanic.
It's gonna be more than that with benefits and.
I'm sorry, 43,000.
43 plus
43,000.
17.5 for the
Right.
health and insurance and some other stuff, so it's about
Do we have to
60.
vote on the original motion?
No,
I don't wanna
vote on
rescind
the
it.
amendment
I
first.
don't wanna rescind it.
Can I have that dollar amount again, please? Or is there one?
43,000 plus incremental benefits. I'd really like to have a number on that, but I
I
don't.
think it's 60.
But that's the way it was phrased. I'm sorry? For incremental benefits?
Yeah.
So 60,500.
60,500. So the amended motion is to reduce this amount by 60,500. Okay.
Because
Let's-
benefits are in the
It's in different warrant articles, yes.
Oh, I see.
That's, yes.
Okay.
this would be just as pay.
Just two votes.
I'm glad I've got all these coaches.
So we're back to 43 on?
We're back to reducing this article by 43,000. And that's the amendment. Do I have a second for the amendment? Do I have a second for the amendment? Seeing none, the amendment fails. Back to the original motion was to recommend $757,873 for Public Works.
I don't think you have a second
Do I have a second for that one?
You do our vote.
I thought we already did.
We do? Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Okay. I'll see if I can remember the other one, Dana, for you. Article 34, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $332,008 for the solid waste account.
yet. Move to recommend Article 34.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion? All in favor? Article 35, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $35,345 for the cemetery account.
Motion to move Article 35.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
Thank you, sir. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Article 36, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $17,000 for the park and recreation account.
Move to recommend Article 36.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Article 37, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $60,500 for the Raymond Village Library.
Motion to move Article 37.
Thank you,
Second.
sir. Thank you, Bob. Discussion? All in favor? Article 38, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $8,000 for the general assistance account.
Move to recommend Article 38.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Article 39, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $525,057 for the insurance employee benefits account.
Motion to move Article 39.
Thank you, Dana. Second?
Second.
Second on Debbie. Discussion?
I will be recusing myself from this vote.
As will I.
Okay, Dana?
I'm gonna vote yes for it, but my My comment is, this is over $500,000. It's extremely high. I think we could have done better, but I don't know. That's all I have to say.
Okay. All those in favor? 5-0, 5-2-0,
502.
502, thank you. Article 40, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $329,400 for debt service.
Motion to move Article 40?
Second that motion.
Discussion? A bond is a bond. All in favor? Thank you. Article 41, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $570,000 for the capital improvement account. This includes public works reserve of $215,000, paving and road reserve for $245,000, municipal facilities improvements for $35,000, and fire department equipment and facilities for $75,000.
Move to recommend Article 41.
Thank you, sir. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Diana. Discussion? All those in favor? All opposed? Article 42, to see if the town will vote to appropriate the money received from the state for snowmobile registrations not to exceed $2,000 to the Raymond Rattler Snowmobile Club for the maintenance of their network of snowmobile trails on condition that those trails be open in the snow season to the public for outdoor recreation purposes at no charge, and to authorize the municipal officers to enter into an agreement with the club under such terms and conditions as the municipal officers may deem advisable for that purpose.
Move to recommend Article 42.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have a discussion? Yes, sir.
I hope that in future years we can remove this. This is confusing to people who are not following this. There is no need for this article. The monies for the Raymond Rattlers can be put very simply and very easily under our recreation program.
Can I again get the explanation of what MMA is telling us? If you could again, please.
I cannot speak for MMA, but we'll allow Sue to speak.
The point of this is that we're giving money to a club that has their own rules and regulations and can use the money any way they want to, pretty much. And they could use it to maintain private trails that the town of Raymond couldn't use, possibly. And this is to make it above board that we are, and if they use it on a private trail, then they're using town monies for private use, and that's illegal. So what the lawyers at MMA have recommended for years is if you are giving the snowmobile money to a club and not a quasi-town organization like a recreation organization, then you would need to have this in there to make that clarified. And it also gives you something to fall back on if you find that they are using the monies inappropriately.
Anything else?
Thank you, Sue.
All in favor? Get your hand ready. All opposed? Dana? Dana and Brian opposed?
No.
I was in favor, sorry.
Okay. Article 43, to see whether the town will vote to carry forward an existing fund balance in the capital improvement program accounts and healthcare reimbursement accounts, the employee compensation account, and the technology salary line.
Move to recommend Article 43.
Second.
Second, discussion. All in favor? Opposed? To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $741,881 for the county tax account.
Motion to move Article 44?
Okay, thank you.
Second that article.
Second. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? One? Just one? Only one?
I've never voted for this, so it's nothing new.
Oh, you get two on that.
When I first voted on this article, it was about $350,000.
I bet.
Yeah, well,
That's the jail.
they're getting a little greedy. Out of control.
Article 45, to see if the town will vote to appropriate the sum of $1,526,596 from the estimated non-property tax revenues to reduce the property tax commitment, together with all categories of funds which may be available from the federal government and any other sources.
Move to recommend Article 45.
Second.
Discussion. All those in favor? Okay, Article 46, to see if the town will vote to accept certain state funds as provided by the Maine State Legislature during the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2018, and any others provided by any other entity, including but not limited to, and you can read the list.
Move to recommend Article 46.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Okay, Article 47, to see if the town will vote to authorize the town staff to make application for and execute any documents related to a grant, and to authorize the select board to accept or reject grants, donations, and/or gifts of money to the town of Raymond, and to authorize the expenditure of monies awarded, donated, and/or gifted for the purpose specified in the grant, donation, and/or gift.
Motion move Article 47.
Second.
Dana got there first.
You got
All
there.
right.
He's got a Bruins game to see tonight.
Yeah, well,
He's
the
just a
first pitch
publicity
went
guy.
out.
I'm in uniform, man.
Okay. We have a first and a second,
I guess.
speaking of baseball. Discussion. All in favor? Article 48, to see if the town will vote to and appropriate from the undesignated fund balance a sum not to exceed $470,000 for the purchase of plow trucks.
Move to recommend Article 46.
48.
I'm sorry, 48. See, I was reading it down here.
There's a typo.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sue, a typo. This is Article 48.
I didn't think it was my eyes.
Second.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Discussion. Sir,
Don't we have another year left on our plowing contract? Now, why is this, is this for the, this is not for the 550. It's for 2 extra trucks, correct?
Right.
One new one and 2 used.
Why is this in this year's budget?
it is, you're correct that we do have another year on a contract.
Yep.
Okay, which expires June 30th or whatever it is, 2019.
So why do we want to appropriate $470,000 if we're not going to be purchasing trucks until our contract expires?
We are appropriating this money to allow them to purchase trucks in preparation of that contract being terminated, because you can't terminate the contract and then buy the trucks.
What if the contract isn't terminated?
Not sure that's going to be an event, Dana.
Well, I think it might be.
Plus it was 9 months lead time.
Yes.
I think
Mr.
we're
Weller.
jumping the gun on this one, but
The
that's,
lead time for the trucks of this,
Right,
scale
Right.
is lengthy.
yeah, it is.
It'll take all that time to get a purpose-built truck for the town, fully equipped and ready to go.
oh, come on. Hey,
Well, you're not gonna be able to buy one off the lot at this price.
right. Okay,
They don't hear from me anyway.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Yes, Bob?
Does this involve 3 vehicles? One new one, 2 used vehicles?
One
what it is,
used,
right?
2.
Isn't that what I said?
Something.
Two
You said-
new,
you
2
said
new, 1 used?
One new,
One
two
new.
used.
Okay,
Two
okay.
used.
And these are wheeler trucks, large trucks, not one tons.
Double axles.
With the wing?
Yeah.
I think we should wait till we get into negotiations with P&K. That's, I mean, we got a little time. It doesn't take that long to order 2 trucks. I was born, I've been around for a while, so.
Yes, Brian?
If these monies, if we renegotiate with P&K and did have an extended contract, since this is undesignated fund monies, I'm assuming that money would just stay in the undesignated fund balance?
Yes.
It wouldn't have to be spent, for example?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be allocated to trucks. I think it's going to stay right there until it's used.
Do you know, Marshall, if that money, if we allocate it, does make interest?
No, it just
No,
slides.
so
from one general-
we're putting almost $500,000.
But it's in the general fund now.
Well, yeah, whatever.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Okay, that's the end of the warrant articles. Committee comment.
You know I got it.
Yes, Brian?
So I do think it's important to get this on the record, and if there's people listening, for them to hear. About the Southern Maine Agency on Aging, it is a group that is really serving the most vulnerable of all people, that's the elderly. The list of services that were provided to us in page 92 talks about resources for the elderly, importantly, classes and counseling for family caregivers. If you think about what family caregivers do, that's them being able to keep their folks out of the people that they love with them as long as possible. Medicare and insurance counseling, a commodity supplemental food program, and the Meals on Wheels. 529 Meals on Wheels delivered last year in Maine, just in Raymond. So, if we just look at the Meals on Wheels, that's $2 for the $1,000 they were asking for. That would come out to $2 per meal delivered. Just on that, if you took away all the other things that they do. There were comments made about the building that they have, the size, and I have photos of it. It is the old police barracks in Scarborough. I'm not sure exactly what the confusion was on that. This is not a group that's doing good things. Their federal funding has been essentially flat funded for 10 years, while the aging population in the state of Maine has gone up dramatically. And they are doing a lot of things to try to help mitigate those needs, but they need help and support from foundations, which they're getting private, and they're looking to municipalities to try to help them out. And most of the municipalities in this area, with the exception of ourselves and Casco, do give money, some at a rather significant level. I believe in paying my way for things, and I think the town of Raymond has traditionally had a history of doing that. And I think this is a situation where I wish that the select board had allowed the people in the town of Raymond to make the decision and not make the decision for them. I'm hugely disappointed that we didn't have the ability to try to correct that. Thank you.
Yes, Bob?
I'd go on and say the same things that Brian did, but I won't. But I agree with Brian. I would like to have a voice with these provider agencies. That ability was taken out of my hands. So I'm not going to repeat everything Brian said.
Yes, Brian?
Yes, I'd just like to say, what Brian Walker says there, I agree with, just in general about his approach for us being a little bit more generous, I'm going to say this, and some of you aren't going to like it, but I'm sorry. I'm not particularly proud that we're the lowest meal rate around. It's good. We did great work, but are there some things that we're not addressing that we should address? But I'll leave that with you. But overall, I'd like to see us a little more generous, especially with some of the agencies that are on the fringe that are a couple of $1,000s whenever we can approve $500,000 for other things that obviously are necessary. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other comments? Thank you for your comments. Public comment is now open. Yes,
Thank you all for
sir.
your work on the budget. We really appreciate it, and we'll look forward to seeing you at town meeting.
Yes, sir.
May I make one more comment? I don't know
Oh,
if
you missed the dedeadline.
I'm sorry. No, I'll shut up.
No, go ahead.
Well, I just wanted to let people that don't know already, a long-time serving Board of Selectmen and a great volunteer, Betty McDermott, passed away, and I'd like to offer the family my condolences and thank Betty for her long years of public service. We didn't always agree on political issues, but that's not what public service is about. She was a wonderful public servant, and I thank her.
I think we all echo that to her and Frank and to Nick and the family. So.
Yes.
Anything else?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you. Good night.